Is it just a he said, she said? Is it really that simple? And why is this now in the hands of the FBI? Why? Because the establishment Republicans have buckled, caved, and bowed to the Democrats, or should I say demon rats. That's what I said, demon rats. The spectacle I saw this week was one of the most pathetic, disheartening, saddest displays to which this nation has ever stood witness. It was, for all intents and purposes, a crucifixion of a man who has led the kind of exemplary life few of us can mirror. Now, you already know I was a felony court judge. You know, I've been both a prosecutor and then the DA. Sex crimes and crimes against women and children were my crusade. I assessed whether cases should go forward, whether the accused should be charged, convicted, and if so, as a judge, what the sentence should be. No one sympathizes more than I when it comes to women who are the silent victims of crime. I created the first domestic violence unit in the nation, which was a Department of Justice pilot program. Christine Blasey Ford is a lovely lady who is credible, and I believe something happened to her. But she's in over her head, and she is being used. No matter how many indelible hippocampus brain comparisons she made, she couldn't remember the fundamentals: whose house it was, where it was, when the party was, how she got to the house, or how she got home. She waits 36 years not telling her mother, a friend, a high school counselor, or anyone before now. If Ford said no one was there, that it was just she and Kavanaugh, or it was just he and she alone in a parking lot, then it's a true he said, she said. But once she chose to say there were 4 people there, it's a they said. Yet all 4 of they said nothing happened. They weren't there. They don't know what she's talking about. Now, what does that tell you about Ford's memory? If they weren't there, is it possible Kavanaugh wasn't there either? Now, crucial here is Ford's therapy visit in 2012. For the first time in 3 decades, she says she mentions Kavanaugh's name. If true, why was the name Kavanaugh not in the therapist's notes? And why would Ford's lawyers withhold those therapist notes, at least the part that referred to this alleged event? Why was Ford so evasive when questioned by the prosecutor on this issue? Why did her attorneys interfere with her answering and her testimony on this point? Were methods used to help her recall whatever traumatic event occurred? If a rape victim undergoes hypnosis sometime prior to testimony for the purpose of refreshing her memory of the incident, the court and jury is entitled to know. Because of the risk of confabulation of recent events, like television, newspapers, that impact one's memory, it is not a reliable means of refreshing one's recollection. Ford's attorneys even said she was afraid to fly and had to drive across the country. Yet we now know she was never told the committee was willing to come to her. We find out she's not afraid to fly. The woman's flown all over the country and the world, the South Pacific and Hawaii. But move all of that out of the way. What we're really dealing with here is hypocrisy, not who's right and wrong, who's guilty, who's innocent. This is about people desperate to win at all costs. Take a man and his family down, no problem. It's the battle of the hypocrites. Now, Jeff Flake is the perfect example. He says after the hearing, he's going to vote for Kavanaugh. But the man buckles after 2 women scream at him while preventing his elevator door from closing.
Look at me when I'm talking to you. You're telling me that my assault doesn't matter. That what happened to me doesn't matter.
What happened to me doesn't matter? Of course it matters. But what does your abuse have to do with Brett Kavanaugh? Hundreds of thousands of women have been abused in this country. Take your anger out on the person who abused you. Go to court, convict him, send him to jail, spit on him. I don't care, but don't you dare blame Brett Kavanaugh for your victimization. Only wimp Jeff Flake is dumb enough, weak enough to not even get it. And Cory Booker, the wannabe Spartacus, he has the gall to stand up and criticize a man who is literally an altar boy on the politics of sexual assault. The ultimate hypocrite, Booker admits groping another young woman when he was 15. Why aren't we going after him? And that genius, Senator Mazie Hirono, who allegedly graduated from high school, either skipped the presumption of innocence class or she's willing to throw it all away for her political gain. And Mazie, your hypocrisy knows no bounds. When you have the nerve to say the Republicans have tossed out the rules, you're the one who declared Kavanaugh guilty before hearing any testimony, simply because it was a woman who was the accuser, and all you men shut up. And you're willing to openly say conservatives are simply not entitled to the presumption of innocence? Who are you? But my favorite, Dianne Feinstein. Madam, you don't deserve to be in the United States Senate, and no one can believe anything you have to say.
Each of these allegations should be investigated by the FBI.
2 days ago, you called for an FBI investigation. What a shock. Why didn't you ask for it in July when you got the Ford letter? You didn't ask for it because you're a hypocrite. No, like a Cheshire cat, you sat on it to inflict the most damage at the most damaging time possible. Christine Ford didn't want to be exposed. But no, you had other plans. Your plan was to leak it. You actually gave Ford the name of a Democrat attorney. Poor Dr. Ford. This woman doesn't know she was nothing more than a puppet on the string of Democratic politics. Dianne, where's your integrity? You and everyone in the Senate knows how this should have been handled confidentially. The FBI should have been involved before. It's how it's done. No one has any respect for you. But in the end, Lindsey Graham said it best.
There is no way to investigate something that happened 35 years ago when you can't tell them the month, the location. So this is not about getting to the truth.
And that's the opening statement. If you like my opening statements, you'll love my new book, New York Times #1 bestseller, Liars, Leakers, and Liberals, which I shamelessly try to advance on this show.